2018 was a year filled with scandal for them, yet Facebook manages to roll out the earnings, beating expectations in the final quarter of the year. Privacy issues, bugs, safety concerns all fell on deaf ears for the 1.5 billion daily users, a 9% increase year over year. So here to discuss, investigative journalist Ben Swann. All right, Ben, what gives here?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. First of all, great news for Facebook and for shareholders. Obviously, the numbers exceeded what a lot of folks had thought that they would. The original thought was that because of the Q4 numbers, they were just not going to do very well, and yet they've exceeded some of those expectations, as you said. But it's not all good news, and part of the reason that they have seen this increase in users also relates to, for instance, the WhatsApp Messenger, as well as Facebook Messenger, and there really isn't revenue to be derived from those places. So there's an increase in usage in some of these areas that don't necessarily translate into more advertising revenue coming back to the company. The other thing is that Facebook made an important distinction when they announced these numbers. They also said that they were going to start in the future counting all of their platforms, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Messenger, all together as one instead of differentiating those user numbers between those companies. And that is a sign, I think, for a lot of people that Facebook recognizes that its most powerful platforms are declining, and so they're trying to boost those numbers with the messaging apps.
All right, and also another thing, Ben, Facebook cleverly and deliberately omitted the mention of almost 120 million fake accounts, some 250 million or so duplicate accounts. So this plays into their earnings numbers as well, right?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Obviously, they had a significant number of these duplicate accounts and a significant number of fake accounts. So you're obviously, if you're an advertiser, you're not interested in those accounts. They're not helping you in any way. And so that ultimately hurts the company's bottom line. I mean, that would be like saying, you know, there's a TV network and a big portion of their users aren't actually there. They're just inflated numbers. And so, yeah, it's definitely going to play into that. And again, I think if you look at the overall trend, year to year, Facebook exceeded where a lot of folks thought they would be, but it's only because the news had been so bad prior to that that I think a lot of folks are rejoicing over this.
Yeah, I think a lot of younger people, maybe slightly younger than Ben, you or I, they've all kind of hopped ship and they're not really on Facebook. You know, they say it's for like grandmas like me, but you know, what about the latest debacle about their so-called data research that TechCrunch reported on? We discussed this the other day. Apple wasn't thrilled by that. They took measures to disable Facebook's ability to data collect.
Yeah, and as part of that, there's a concern obviously over Facebook's ability to do what they're doing, but there's also concern about Apple's ability to be able to simply shut down Facebook there. Apple essentially is in complete control of their systems and saying anybody who's conducting a business, again, an app that's selected by users and users are in theory, wanting to utilize this service, Apple has the ability to basically shut it all down. So I think there's concern here, not just for what Facebook was doing, but also for the power that Apple holds over any app that is on your device.
Yeah, I think that's an important point to make there, Ben. The growing feud, obviously, between Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg. We see that iOS can instantly, you know, with a click of a mouse, shut down Facebook's abilities. How concerned should the consumer be, seeing as Apple has this kind of like omnipotent power?
Well, I think consumers should be concerned, but mostly because of this, again, idea, and we've touched on this before, this idea that you as a consumer have no power, right? You are essentially at the mercy of Facebook and you're at the mercy of Apple. You're at the mercy of all these competing interests. So the apps that you say and select that you're going to use, that you want to use, are essentially in many cases, especially in Facebook's case, taking information from you without letting you know what they're doing. So they're abusing you on that front. Apple says, yes, you're going to buy our device from us. Yes, you're going to use our operating systems, but we're ultimately going to be the authority over it. And I think that's concerning for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think people are misguided in thinking I dropped $1,000 on the iPhone X, iPhone 10, and then it's yours. Surprise, it still belongs to Tim Cook, and they'll control it from home base in Northern California. All right, as always, love getting your insights on this. Ben Swann, thank you so much.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.